A few years ago, I traveled to a remote jungle in South America with a group of friends. The guide was dark history. The souls of a long lost tribe were said to haunt the jungle, trapping anyone who ventured too deep. We laughed it off as superstition and pressed on, eager for adventure. By the second night, the jungle felt wrong. The air was thick, and there was an eerie silence. No birds, no insects, just unsettling stillness. That night, we heard footsteps circling our camp, but every time we looked, there was nothing. Our guide was visibly shaken, muttering about the spirits. We dismissed him, thinking it was just nerves. The next morning, one of our group members was missing. No signs of a struggle, just an empty sleeping bag. We searched, but found nothing. That's when we realized the truth. The jungle wasn't just haunted by stories. It had a will of its own. We tried to escape, but as we made our way back to camp, shadowy figures watched us from the trees. My heart raced as we hurried to find our way out. As we finally reached the edge of the jungle, I turned around and saw the figures once more. Pale faces, eyes hollow with malice. They were still there, standing in the trees, staring at us as we fled. I left the jungle, but sometimes late at night, I swear I can still feel them watching me.
It was supposed to be the adventure of a lifetime. A group of friends setting off to explore the lush, uncharted jungle in South America. We had always wanted to do something daring, and when the opportunity arose, we jumped at the chance. Little did we know, we were about to enter a place so haunted, it would change our lives forever. We arrived in the small town at the edge of the jungle after a long flight and a grueling drive. The locals were quiet, their eyes avoiding ours as we asked for directions. Our guide, an older man named Miguel, met us at the town square. He had a stern look, his face weathered from years of navigating the jungle, but there was something else, a fear in his eyes that he couldn't quite hide. "Be careful," he said, his voice low and gravelly. "This jungle, it holds more than just trees and animals. It holds spirits, spirits that don't take kindly to outsiders." At first, we thought he was just trying to scare us, but as we entered the jungle, a deep unease settled in. The air was thick, damp, and suffocating. There was an unnatural silence, a stillness that seemed to press down on us from all sides. The only sounds we could hear were the crunch of leaves beneath our boots and the occasional rustle of something unseen in the underbrush. The deeper we went, the stranger it became. There were no birds, no insects, nothing. It was as if the jungle itself was holding its breath. Even the trees seemed different. Their trunks were twisted and gnarled, their leaves thick and dark, blocking out the sun in some places. It was as if we were being swallowed whole by the jungle, piece by piece. That night, around the campfire, Miguel told us the story of the tribe that once inhabited the jungle. A tribe of fierce warriors who vanished without a trace centuries ago. According to the legend, they angered the spirits of the jungle, and in retaliation the spirits wiped them out. But the tribe's souls didn't leave. They were bound to the jungle, forever haunting it, keeping anyone who ventured too far from ever returning. "Do not venture too deep," Miguel warned us. "The jungle will keep you. The spirits will take you and make you one of them." We laughed it off, thinking it was just a way to keep us from getting too curious. But as we lay down to sleep that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I heard noises in the dark, soft whispers, like someone was just beyond the firelight. But when I looked, no one was there. The next morning, something was different. One of our group, Sarah, was missing. Her sleeping bag was empty, the ground around it undisturbed. We called out for her, but there was no answer. Panic set in. We searched the camp and the surrounding jungle, but there was no sign of her. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. Miguel's face was ashen when he saw the empty space where Sarah had been sleeping. He muttered something under his breath, but it was too quiet to make out. Then, in a voice strained with fear, he said, "The spirits have taken her." We didn't believe him. We couldn't. We were determined to find Sarah. We thought maybe she had wandered off, maybe she was trying to play a prank on us. But as we searched, something felt wrong. The jungle was closing in around us. The paths we once thought were clear, now twisted and unfamiliar. It was as though the jungle was shifting, moving with a will of its own. By the time night fell again, we were lost. We couldn't find our way back to camp, and the fear began to set in. As we huddled together, Miguel grew more agitated. "You must understand," he said, his voice trembling. "The spirits, they can't be escaped. Once you enter their domain, you are theirs forever." At that moment, I saw something that made my blood run cold. From the shadows of the trees, a figure emerged. It was a man, but his skin was pale and stretched, his eyes hollow and dark. He was wearing nothing but tattered remnants of clothing, his body gaunt and skeletal. His mouth opened, but no sound came out, just an awful, deafening silence. Then, with unnatural speed, he vanished into the jungle, disappearing as quickly as he had appeared. I turned to Miguel, my heart racing. "What was that?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "The spirits," Miguel said, his eyes wide with terror. "The lost souls of the tribe. They never left. They're waiting for us." We tried to keep moving, but the jungle seemed to close in tighter, the shadows growing darker. It was like we were walking in circles. I noticed something else, something chilling. Every now and then, I would glance over my shoulder and swear that I saw movement, figures, just beyond the trees, watching us. They were always just out of reach, and whenever we tried to approach, they vanished. By the time we made it to a clearing, we were all exhausted and on edge. That's when we saw her, Sarah. But she wasn't the same. She was standing in the middle of the clearing, staring at us with blank, empty eyes. Her skin was pale, and her mouth stretched into an eerie, unnatural smile. The rest of the night was a blur. We tried to get back to camp, but the jungle had swallowed us whole. We were lost, hunted by the spirits of the jungle, unable to escape their grasp. It felt like the jungle itself was alive, watching, waiting. When morning finally came, we were found, barely. Miguel was gone, his body never recovered. The local authorities couldn't explain what happened to us. They didn't want to. They knew better than to speak about the jungle's curse. To this day, I don't know what truly happened in that jungle. All I know is that the spirits, the souls of the lost tribe, are real, and they still haunt that jungle waiting for their next victim.